Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time we're talking about episode 9 of season 7 of Dexter called Helter Skelter. And boy, what a gut punch, or perhaps more accurately, gut shot of an episode. Oh man, this is some of the best Dexter that we have seen in forever. I'm loving it. But loads and loads to talk about. I've literally got like half a page full of notes here off to the side. So if you see me glancing that way, that's what's going on. But we got loads to talk about. First of all, we start off with Dexter kind of doing his Dexter monologue thing and musing philosophically about the nature of fear. In a way, fear and how it's similar to romance and what it does to your emotions, blah 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 blah. Yeah, you get what I'm going for. It's an all right little bit of Dexter philosophy going on there, but it just really, really reminds me a little bit too much of some junk that Shinzon said to Counselor Troy in Star Trek Nemesis. And boy, oh boy, was that movie ever a turkey. I mean, if it didn't remind me of the film where they freaking killed Data, then maybe I would have been able to enjoy that more. But no, it just reminded me of Star Trek Nemesis, which really, how does that not bring anything down? I mean, okay, so I think we firmly established that I did not like the film Star Trek Nemesis. Let's move on and talk about Dexter, okay? Now, the scene with Hannah on the boat and the philosophical musing. I mean, it's all nice stuff. It's really going there to sort of show us that, in a way, Dexter and Hannah are maybe not a normal couple, but there is some level of just what a real normal couple and would have, spending some time together, bouncing off each other. Just the idea that Hannah getting seasick, that's an amusing little idea. It gives her some humanity, it gives her some vulnerability. All in all, a pretty well written scene. Now, we're introduced, for obvious reasons that we'll get into later, to what appears to be our I don't know exactly how to say this. Maybe not secondary plot, because there are loads and loads of secondary plots floating around. I guess mini, like, quarter season episode bad guy situation. Can you tell I've watched a lot of stuff written by Joss Whedon? Okay, so I'm talking about, of course, the person who's going around setting people on fires. I think introducing a new bad guy at this point, who, in all likelihood, is completely unrelated to this stuff going on with the Kashkas, I really can't help but feel that this is not a good storytelling decision. This is something that's really only going to have, what, at best, a few episodes, not even like 5 episodes to really get established and wrapped up. I don't think they're going to leave us with a cliffhanger. That is sort of the tradition, is that at the end of the season finale, Dexter gets to kill the main bad guy. So, I'm not basically, I'm not going to condemn this. I'm just going to say that I'm extremely wary of this development. No, it's not that it isn't an interesting idea. Okay, somebody going around burning people to death in Miami while wearing apparently some kind of fire protective suit. Okay, now that's really is interesting. But again, I'm just concerned that they're not really going to give this story enough time to, if you'll pardon the expression, cook properly. But given the quality of the writing that we've seen over this season so far, I think I'm going to have faith in the Dexter writing crew, because even though he didn't last until the end of the season, you can't really deny that Isaac went out in a really well-written way. Now, not that I don't have a quibble or two with some of that, but he exited the story at a time that, storytelling-wise, made sense. Not number of episodes per season, but storytelling-wise made sense. And of course, Ray Stevenson was just absolutely acting the hell out of that. With this episode, he officially tops Titus Pulo for the best role that I have ever seen him in. And if you've watched some of my other videos, you've seen me rave about Rome before, and yeah, seriously, man, Ray Stevenson needs more love because this guy is just a mind-blowingly good actor. I am once again just completely and utterly in awe of this guy. But anyway, bringing us back briefly to the first murder victim with the burning thing. Once again, Masuka references Harakiri. He did that earlier this season, and I can't remember how much I ranted about that or if I even remembered to do it. But okay, for those of you who are new to my videos, let me explain something to you. I lived in Japan for about 3 years. All right, I was an exchange student at a Japanese college there for 8 months. I had a job there for 2 years. I'm not 100% fluent in Japanese, but I can get by over there pretty well. And because of that and my own interest in Japanese culture, I know some stuff about Japanese culture. I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I do know some stuff. And one thing that I do know is that nobody who would okay, harakiri is basically considered kind of a dirty word in Japanese. And I don't mean like, a swear word. I mean it's just considered in poor taste to use that term because basically it means belly slitting. That's about the closest literal translation that I can give you. Now, if you are referring to the sort of ritual suicide from the old samurai days where a guy would, stab a knife into his stomach and, basically disembowel himself, okay, that was called seppuku. Okay, that is a form of ritual suicide that it's considered a very big deal. If you were a guy who, in the old samurai days, and you really screwed up, one of the ways that you could essentially redeem your honor was to commit seppuku. Not harakiri, okay? You did not. These are two very different things. But one of the important things about seppuku is that if you did it, you would have a friend or somebody you trusted standing beside you with a sword to essentially cut your head off as soon as you've cut your stomach open. Because, even in the samurai days, and samurai were seriously hardcore guys, even back then, like, just laying there and letting bleed and dying of your guts hanging out, that was considered unnecessary. As long as you were willing to slice yourself open, then that was considered okay. You have satisfied honor's demand. Now that guy over there will cut your head off so you can die so that the pain doesn't last too awful long. And basically, seppuku is considered an honor in Japanese history, is considered an honorable way out. Now, of course, the samurai days are long over, and Japanese people don't do this anymore, with one or two crazy people have done it over the years. But basically, yeah. But in any case, this is something that Japanese folks take pretty seriously, and if you refer to that sort of thing as harakiri, you're really kind of giving a bad name to something that is considered a pretty big deal and not something that you should really be making fun of. Is the simplest explanation that I can give without having to beat you guys over the head with a bunch of stuff about Japanese history and culture. And as a guy of Japanese descent, I'm not saying Masuka should know this. I mean, I don't know a lot of details about the various cultures that I personally am descended from, but then again, he just sort of remarks on people setting themselves on fire and kind of muses about my people. Now, okay, if Masuka is referring to Asians in general, then okay, technically he would be correct. But in general, setting yourself on fire as a way of protest is really not a Japanese thing. And Masuka is indeed a Japanese surname. So, Masuka, I'm afraid you might not be quite as well in touch with your heritage as you believe yourself to be. And now that I have once again ranted in a possibly exceptionally unnecessary fashion, let's continue on talking about the actual details of the show. Speaking of what's going on here, this is something I actually forgot to mention last week, but okay, when Aster and Cody are around, Dexter knows he's being stalked by this badass gangster guy who wants to kill him for killing somebody he cared about, or killing a member of his gang. And yet Dexter never does anything at all to try and dissuade Aster and Cody from coming down to Miami, even though he knows Isaac is gunning for him. Now, granted, he'd had to come up with a heck of a good reason for them to not come, but still, he makes absolutely no effort. And once again, when he knows Isaac is gunning for him, he apparently does not take steps, or at least does not take sufficient steps, to prevent himself from being followed to Hannah's place. Now, granted, York seems like a guy who knows how to do his job pretty well, but again, Dexter really should be being a lot more careful than he is, and this episode shows us that him being careless bites him in the butt, bites Hannah in the butt, and, yeah. Dexter. Okay, now it's time to once again rant about what's going on with LaGuerta. You know what? I'm not sure who I enjoy at Miami Metro ranting about more, LaGuerta or Quinn. Oh, who am I kidding? Making fun of Quinn's stupidity is way more fun than making fun of LaGuerta's. Because, Quinn totally deserves to be made fun of because he's a moron! But anyway, LaGuerta. So, LaGuerta seeks out help from the old captain, who is understandably reluctant to help her. And then LaGuerta has the gall to get indignant when the captain makes an insulting joke at her ethnic heritage. Now, while making insulting jokes towards people's ethnic heritage is generally, and in fact almost universally unacceptable, unless it's among friends and who know you don't mean anything bad by it. That said, the man doing this is someone who LaGuerta has blackmailed and screwed up out of a 40-year pension, as he quite plainly points out to her. And then she has the nerve, because he makes a joke at her expense, to get all up on the moral high ground, claiming that all of this is just beating him at politics. This is complete and utter freaking bullshit! Bullshit! Okay, LaGuerta, let's see. You are guilty of evidence tampering and blackmail. As a police officer, as a police lieutenant at the time that you did this, you should be in prison for this. You should be serving an extremely long prison sentence for this. In fact, there are probably other crimes that you committed in the course of covering up what happened with the hooker and that captain that you should also have been charged and sentenced to jail for. And you're going to stand there and say that your blackmail victim is on a lower moral ground than you are because he took a shot at you for the fact that you're Cuban? Oh my god. LaGuerta really does think that it's all about her, doesn't she? I mean, really? She can sit there and think that she has the moral high ground in that situation? Oh, okay, it's official. I want them to kill LaGuerta. Okay, I have said that I think it's kind of inevitable given what's going on in this season, but I didn't actually want it to happen, or I was at least ambivalent towards it happening, until this episode. No, I am finished with LaGuerta as a character, and you guys have heard me rant in disgust about, the way she treated Deb last season, and her playing politics and jerking people around, and how fed up I am with it. Okay, But LaGuerta this time around was actually acting up until this point like a real cop, to at least some degree. She had some level of redemption going on in my eyes. But okay, I have made my point clear. We're gonna move on. We got a lot else to talk about. No, we don't. Okay. All right. Again, Dexter owning a boat is not a secret, as I have repeatedly said. Also, why does LaGuerta seem to think that Dokes, a formal special forces soldier who did all kinds of, crazy commando stuff, could not somehow purchase and own a boat under a phony name and not have the extraordinarily incompetent cops of Miami Metro not find out about it? Seriously, her showing him that list only means anything if Dokes was, the LaGuerta subplot this season is not as strongly written as I'd like. Have you guys picked up on that from my reactions here? Okay. So, now we come to the supervillain team-up portion of the episode. Now, I gotta admit, I was sure Dexter was going to be doing a team-up with somebody this episode, and I thought it was going to be Hannah. Now, I thought she might be that the little edge he was going to need to take down Isaac. And I love that the writers completely faked me out on this. Dexter has to team up with Isaac. It's beautiful. It's brilliant. I love it. And just seeing them, work together to take down the Hitman was really cool. But, and if you remember my earlier rants in this season, I was really upset by Isaac's habit of killing people in broad daylight. He killed Lewis there. He killed the bouncer in broad daylight. Now, Dexter stabs a man to death in broad daylight at a gun range. Dexter, you had really better hope that place doesn't have, a security camera. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot. This is Dexter. Security cameras only exist whenever it's convenient for them to exist. If they're in a place where you can reasonably expect security cameras to be, and then Dexter is there doing something that would probably get him caught, there will be no security cameras there. Seriously, does Dexter have the ability to, does he have a mutant power that erases inconvenient security cameras from his presence? Well, no, he has gotten caught on security camera at least once when it was really bad for him, but he managed to pull his butt out of the fire. What was that, season 2 that happened? I'm sorry, Dexter writers. I love you, but that's weak writing. Oh yeah, they also throw a murdered man's body off a boat in broad daylight. Okay, apparently nobody works at the docks at Miami at all. Okay. So this brings us to the point where Michael, who I keep wanting to call Jason Gedricks because of, Television Without Pity, and of course that's also the name of the actor who plays him, is the one who gutshots Victor. Okay, did not see that coming. I'm guessing that Michael is probably going to earn himself a place on Dexter's table, and honestly, let's face it, the dude totally deserves it. And this might be about the only way that Quinn and Nadia are getting out of this season alive. I mean, I could rant about how stupid Quinn was to go and punch Michael in his strip club and all this other stuff, but frankly, seeing Michael get the crap kicked out of him gets Quinn a pass this time around. But anyway, okay, first of all, in the time that it would have taken Dexter to get Isaac from the ship down to his boat and out into the middle of the water, I'm pretty sure Dexter could have successfully called an ambulance. And if Isaac says on the ship, he's doomed, I'm going to die, it's still inside me. Okay, this assumes that you are going to be dead within less than the 10 minutes or so, 10-15 minutes, that it would probably take for an ambulance to get to you from anywhere in Miami. 10 to 15 minutes, possibly less. I'm guessing that it probably took longer than 10 to 15 minutes for Dexter to get Isaac off the ship, go down to his boat, and get out into the water, because Isaac gets shot, it's daylight out, and it's well past sunset when we see him out on the water. This is just bad and sloppy on so many levels. Isn't it funny how I can just rant and start off these little videos with talking about, oh man, this was such a great episode, and then it's like, and this was wrong, and this was bad, and this was stupid, and I'm a reviewer who prefers to keep things positive. I seriously, folks, I really do try, but sometimes the shows just ask for more than I'm willing to give. But in any case, as ridiculous as all that is, and it is, of course, redeemed by Ray Stevenson's acting. And the fact that his advice to Dexter is real and true. I mean, it is genuinely good advice. It is genuinely heartfelt advice. And it's such a great come around from earlier in the episode where Isaac was about to flip out and basically kill Dexter because Dexter saw through him. He saw that it was really guilt that was driving Isaac more than it was the desire for vengeance. And then, of course, there's the idea that Isaac was willing to keep his word. He really was willing to just let it go with Dexter after Dexter held up his end of the bargain. That's, really, I was really wondering if he was going to do that. And the fact that he did, the fact that I was wondering about that, I mean, that's just adds so much richness to his character. But what really, really drove it home for me with that scene at the end was, in a way, Dexter finally found what he has repeatedly been looking for. What he tried to get from Brian. What he tried to get from Miguel. And he has found that one person, that one friend who he really can relate to. I mean, that's how I like to do it. I like to think that Isaac died Dexter's friend. I mean, they even say it. Isaac even says to him, if circumstances had been different, I think we could have been great friends. Well, in this episode, the circumstances were greatly different. And the last thing that Isaac does is give Dexter advice on how to go out and find love, to find fulfillment in his life. And really, isn't that what your friends do for you? Try and help you, try and give you advice that will help you live a good and happy life? Well, I'm sure folks out there will have their own interpretations of that, but in my book, Isaac died Dexter's friend. Now, let me see here. Yeah, okay, let's go and talk about what's going on with Hannah. I did sort of like her interactions with Jorg. That was just, it really did add some needed richness to Jorg's character. We started to finally get to see a little bit of that earlier, where he says, I'm with you, Isaac, all the way, no matter what. And then we get to see Jorg kind of just like chilling out, playing video games at one point. Although, Jorg, that was an extraordinarily stupid place to put the key. I mean, seriously, dude, just in the mouth of that little toy tiger, or whatever the heck that knickknack was. Dude, just put it in your pocket, okay? But, alas, Jorg is no longer with us. Now, the interaction, the main thing here with Hannah and Deb. First of all, I really do think that this really brings to a head what's been going on with Deb these last few episodes. It really is a sign for us that Deb has started to regain her footing. She knows that she has to live with knowing what Dexter is. But now she has found her place. She has found her moral center. She was really bouncing around, lost, didn't know what to do, was asking Dexter to kill someone. But, here we see that that core of morality that is Deb is still there. Now, granted, her morality is going to have to make some adjustments. She is going to have to live with a lot of stuff, but she is not going to let this change the core of who she is. The Deb we all know and love is still in there. That righteous person is still in there. Is a righteous person carrying around some serious sins, some serious problems, but at her core, even knowing what she knows, even looking the other way or whatever with what Dexter does, Deb is still not the kind of person who will stand by and just let another person die, even if it's someone that she thinks deserves to die. And you can make what you want to say about Deb's decision to not immediately just turn Dexter in, but you can't deny that in choosing to save Hannah's life, Deb did the moral thing. Now, oh yeah, speaking of that scene, did you notice the 911 call? Deb just says, like, "This is Lieutenant Morgan. I need an ambulance here." And the 911 person is, "Yeah, okay." They don't bother to say what happened. How is someone hurt? Is there a fire? Anything like that. Now, folks, for various reasons, I've had to call 911 a couple of times in my life. And here's the thing. 911 operators like to try and get information out of you to understand the situation that they're sending people into, because that's helpful. Now, granted, this is TV, and we don't have a lot of time to really waste with Deb having a realistic conversation with a 911 operator. I'm just pointing that out to you guys. Oh yeah, speaking of which, Jorg, if you're going to hold someone prisoner in a house and they are visibly chained to the furniture, you might want to close the windows. I mean, really, Deb comes up to the house and looks through the window and sees them all lying on the floor. Jorg, I don't know how things are in the Ukraine, but in America, we have these guys who routinely come up to your door. They're called mailmen. We also have these folks called missionaries and door-to-door salesmen. Folks just looking for directions, whatever. There are an ample number of reasons as to why a person may come just strolling up to your front door. And if the windows are open, there is the possibility, the very distinct possibility, they may see a little bit of what's going on inside. And if most people come up to a house and they see a woman chained to the furniture inside, they're going to quietly turn around, walk away, and go and call the freaking cops. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Dexter now has lots and lots and lots more human blood in his boat. That, is not a good thing. He's really going to have to give the slice of life a serious cleaning with some really high-powered bleach. And, oh yeah, if he misses some of it, well, gee, that could become kind of bad if good old Lieutenant LaGuardia comes poking around his boat, couldn't it? Okay, so despite all of that, I still hold that this was a very good episode. I am, however, somewhat frazzled and burned out from this review, so I'm going to call it here, folks. Until next time, please comment, rate, and subscribe as always, and of course you can follow me on Twitter at HoosierJedi. Until next time, take care and have a good one.